The NFL stands for not for long.
Set, Sharga and Armstead. Roll out, Walker still running out. Looks to the left, wide open, Thompson touchdown. Colin Thompson with the touchdown. There was nobody within 20 yards of
What a catch off the bobble. Colin Thompson scoops it up.
Lofting corner, the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. The first NFL touch for Colin Thompson is a score.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Colin Thompson Show, presented by Non For Long Media and brought to your friends over at Boiron, Arnicare. They have a line of homeopathic medicines that are powered by Arnica, a plant that relieves muscle pain and stiffness, swelling and injuries, and of course, bruising. Plenty of that throughout my career. And like I've said, I've used Boiron Arnicare throughout my career, not early on, sadly, but I discovered it later in my career, and it helped me just get up, get moving, and get conquering the next day. Again, it's available in a variety of forms, including fragrance-free topicals, oral pellets, melt-away tablets. Arnicare offers a range of products suitable for strenuous physical activity, sports, recovery, minor injuries, and falls. Arthritis pain, have plenty of that in my hands and more. Learn more at arnicare.com. Seriously, a group that I've been so blessed to work with. And really, it's brought me some awesome guests. And one of these awesome guests joining us today is Shealen Reno. She started her journey in BMX racing at the age of 4. Professional mountain bike slope style rider, Shealen Reno transitioned to slope style biking in recent years, where she's truly made her mark. With a background rooted in BMX, she brings a unique perspective and skill set to the world of slope style. But Shealen is more than just tricks and adrenaline. She's passionate about inspiring others to push the limits and discover the joy of riding. When she's not soaring through the air, BMXing it up, she's a proud ambassador of this awesome brand. We get to work with Boiron. Like I said, it's brought me some amazing people. We started working with Boiron. I said, hey, listen, let's get some of your folks on you work with. And I'll tell you what, I was expecting some awesome people with great journeys, but people like Shealen, right? The folks we've talked to so far that have come on this show that are just so nice and so kind and have great stories. Truly awesome people that we've been able to work with, really. And I can't thank the team enough over at Boiron Arnicare for making it possible. So stay tuned for more interviews with them. Again, awesome people. And I really appreciate their support here at Not For Long Media and the Colin Thompson Show. Okay, so Mother's Day is coming up. Before we send it over, I just want to talk about my mom and the impact she's had on me and my career. Listen, I'm not here talking to you and talking to anybody. No one's listening. I'm just an average Joe, which is an okay thing too. But I'm just an average Joe that doesn't get to play in the NFL and have an audience that listens because of what I was as a player, what I am as a player. I'm currently a free agent trying to play still. My mom helped me with so many things athletically, and she doesn't really have an athletic bone in her body. Her mindset, her mental toughness, her power of positivity and writing things down is unmatched. She's never said a bad word about anybody in her life. I've never heard her say, you can't do that or that can't be done, ever. And you try to convince her and tell her, and she will not take it. She won't hear it. She doesn't hear it. So my mom's an amazing person and has opened so many doors for me through her hard work, through her dedication, through her sacrifice. She's still working her ass off. And could easily probably step away, but she owns her own business, LSL Brands, that I'm doing some media marketing for. And she just literally is a workhorse. 20 different retail stores, involved in several different projects, new ones that are coming that are super exciting, ones that are currently being worked on, ones that she conquered in the past. Truly, there's no one like my mom, and I'm very blessed that she's my mother. We have a wonderful family. She's created a great home for us, along with my father, and pass it down on to, my family, and our family's growing, right, with Sydney, my wife, being pregnant, and we're expecting a child in July. So again, I'm very blessed, and very blessed to have a sponsor like the original Fudge Kitchen. FudgeKitchens.com. They ship fudge and sweet treats across the country. The perfect gift for mom on Mother's Day. Check it out. Fudge Kitchen. Ship it right out the door. It's not too late. This thing's going to come out May 9th. Go on there, order mom some chocolate, some fudge, some saltwater taffy. Why not? It's a great gift. It mixes things up, gives them a taste of the Jersey Shore. Check them out. FudgeKitchens.com. Guys, really excited to send it over to Shealen. What a great person. Seriously, awesome. It's our first podcast. a great guest. We had some good laughs. We had some fun. And again, I'm really thrilled with Boiron Arnicare because they sent me these awesome people to talk to and for you guys to listen to. The responses have been great, just like their product, natural pain medicine, honestly, which signs me up, guys, because I need it. It's been huge for me for the allergies too. All right, guys, have a great day. Enjoy the interview and have a great Mother's Day weekend. Everyone travel safe. All right, so Shealen Reno is joining us today. How you doing today?
I'm great. Yeah, I just got done with a little bit of training and yeah, it's excited to talk to you a little bit.
What does training consist of in the BMX, biking, outdoor world? Because for me, mine's all controlled environments. Mine's all like the football world. It gets crazy, but when I'm training, it's like weightlifting, I'm sprinting, I'm doing this, that, and the other thing. Like, what does it look like for you?
Right, yeah. So I used to BMX race and it was probably more like your training, but now I am a mountain bike slopestyle rider and that's like more of doing tricks on big like dirt jumps. So I actually bought a airbag, like a lander airbag that we built a wooden ramp to. And so I just basically today I sessioned on that all day and just worked on my tricks that I needed a little tuning up on. And yeah, did a few hours of that, and that was my training for the day.
That's great. That's great. Any accidents? Are we all right today or what?
Oh, today we're good. It was a little breezy, but I caught some lulls that yeah, I got some solid training in. Um,
How high are you jumping?
so I have a 9 foot ramp into an 8 foot lander. So I'll probably be like 15 feet in the air.
How high have you been before?
Well, I just got done at a competition in New Zealand, and the bigger ramps were 15, like 14, 15 foot. And that was the biggest ramps I've ever been on. And they were pretty intimidating, but super fun as well.
How was your trip? Talk to me about it.
Yeah, it was amazing. So I got to go to Rotorua, New Zealand for the first Crankworx stop of the year. And Crankworx just allowed women to be in the slopestyle scene on diamond level events. So it was our inaugural event. And we were super stoked to ride. And just riding, like the course that I rode was like the biggest course I've ever like rode in my life. And so like just going there and jumping the jumps was like a check off the list. And then like once I jumped all the jumps, I'm like, okay, now I gotta trick them. Oh man. But yeah, it was great. I took a few spills while I was there and got a little beat up like 2 days before the event. So I was just super glad that I could just do the event. Like I just kind of push my soreness to the side and was like, okay, let's just do this event. And yeah, so we get 2 runs in the live broadcast, and yeah, all the girls killed it. We all got top to bottom in one piece, and yeah, it was an amazing first event of the year, and we are so stoked and so stoked to come home and learn more tricks and just dial in the one that I didn't get to throw on the course.
Now, there's so much to unpack here for your journey, right? Because you know what? I'll stay on the event and then I'll go back to your journey and talking about like first time women were allowed to compete in this event and all these different things. So there's so much to go there as my lights keep going out here. This is great production we have going on today. So tell me about the event. How do you get a bike over there? Like all the logistics, because from our perspective, we're like, all right, like helmets and shoulder pads go in a bag and you're ready to go. But for you, it's a whole different ballgame.
Right, yeah, we have like a travel like mountain bike bag that we use. When I was racing BMX, so BMX size is a 20-inch wheel, so we could actually put them in golf bags, and usually golf bags like fly free. So that was like super easy to us. And then once I started mountain biking, I'm like, oh, I got to get a bigger bag, and it costs a little more money to fly it over there. But yeah, all in all, like usually the airlines are pretty chill. You never know. It's like the airlines can be cool, but it's like the individual person you're working with when you get up to the kiosk. They're like, "What's in this?" And I'm like, "Oh, golf clubs."
That's great. That's so funny. That's awesome. All right. So like we all have journeys and what's got us into different passions. And, pro athletes always have a story, right? Of struggle, of pain, of injuries, of success, of people that helped you along the way, right? They're all completely different, but they're all similar in that, let's say, in that range, if you will. Like, no one's ever like had a perfect, easy road. I would assume. I'd love to meet that person.
Me too.
Yeah. So you're from Dallas, Texas, right?
Yep.
And how'd you get into biking? I mean, all your stuff I'm reading about you is like from day one, you were like ready to rip it up. Like, where'd that come from? Were you born with it? Is that something that your family instilled?
Yeah.
And how'd you get started?
Yeah, so I was 4 years old and I have four older brothers, and my dad just wanted to get my brothers like off the road, the busy road, and ride their bike somewhere. So he kind of knew about BMX racing growing up as a kid, and he just like looked online like a BMX track near us, and yeah, he found one pretty close to us called Cowtown BMX, and he took my brothers out there, and then one day he took me out there just to watch, and I was like, hey, like this looks fun, like sign me up, like can I ride? And he's like, no, no, like my boys are going to be my superstars. You can't ride a bike without training wheels. So I was like, okay, well, take my training wheels off. And I taught myself how to learn how to ride a bike within a week on the sidelines of the track. And I was like, all right, like put me in, I'm ready. And yeah, like just started there and raced BMX I retired 2 years ago. So like 20, 23 years. I raced pro as a BMX racer for 8 years and lived at the Olympic Training Center, tried to be an Olympian. And yeah, it was super fun and got to experience all that. And then in 2020, um, with no BMX tracks open, I was like, okay, I still want to ride my bike. And I jumped on a mountain bike and I was like, ooh, this is fun. And I had a few friends who were like, hey, try to go do Crankworks. Like you love jumping big jumps on your bike, and there's bigger jumps out there. And I was like, okay, like so I decided to go do Crankworks and saw all what they had to offer. And I saw slopestyle and I was like, oh my gosh, this is up my alley. Like it's not timed. You're just jumping big jumps, throwing tricks. Like I was like, all right, I'm retiring BMX. Let's go ride mountain bikes.
That's a great story. That's an awesome story. COVID's was a tough time in our world, but a lot of us were forced to pivot on a lot of different things and be creative. And obviously there was horrendous things that went on, but if you're able to stay healthy and maneuver and get by, you're able to, do something exactly like you did and pivot to something that you love. And now, is this something too, like for me, like in my off time, I'm not doing a ton of football. I mean, I'm always talking and people are asking me, but are you always on a bike? I feel like you're definitely like, it's just always on it. That's like a hobby.
Yeah, I'm always on my bike. If I can bike, I tell people I can bike better than I can walk. So I try to stay off those feet.
It's not a beach cruiser either. It's not like my bike that I bar hop with. It's definitely like a real bike.
Yeah, but a beach cruiser works, like if that's the last thing I can find, we're trying to hop curves and trying to find stuff we can take it off of.
Oh man, I love it. No gears, just an absolute mess.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, right? All the professional, female athletes I have on, you guys have like just broken down barriers and it's unbelievable the different things you've been able to accomplish. But how's that changed in your sport in particular, like BMX and trail riding, like where I don't know, I grew up playing like Dave Mira BMX video game as a kid, and then like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, which obviously is a different world, but
Yeah.
similar world. Like how's it changed it like from when you got in it to where you are now and the number of females competing and prize money and all the things that come with that, sponsorship?
Yeah, I mean, from the age of 4 to now, it's changed so much. Like growing up, I was the only pro in Texas, and like I had no one to like really battle with, and it's kind of hard like being a like still now like I don't have any other girls around me that I can like push myself off of. Like I have to like push myself off the guys or have to be my own spark. And like sometimes it's like, well, he's a guy, of course he can do that. But it's like, no, like I'm equal. I can do anything the guys can do, and
Yeah.
like always try to stay in that mindset. And yeah, now like in the world of BMX and mountain biking, there's so many more girls around the world that are just like progressing, and like now with like being able to see everything at like on your phone, like I think that has like made us like women like more capable, and like just being able to see that other women can do stuff. And like with this past event, like we like inspired so many ladies to like be like, oh, I can like jump the biggest jumps in the world, or I can like do stuff guys do. It's just, you just have to see it to believe it.
The business side of the biking world, from BMX to trail riding, what does that look like? Because in us, we have agents, right? There's sponsorships, and you're negotiating deals. And I know every sport's different. And I always love asking that question because exactly what you said, like the people coming to watch you ride, and then you're inspiring them, and then they get into it, right? And then we're the old people like, oh, this is what it used to be like. Like we had to give away this percentage or this, or like, you don't have to go in the nitty gritty, but back to your previous statement, you're an inspiration, and that is so cool. And that will be something that like you'll be able to say, like, yeah, we were the first people to really do this. But then secondly, like the business side of this thing, how does this work? You represent yourself, you sign up for all these events. What's the procedure?
Yeah, it's still like coming from BMX to mountain biking, like it's a whole different like business side to it, like whole different sponsors, like the bike companies that are in BMX are not in mountain biking. So I kind of had to like start all over 2 years ago when or I guess I've been doing slopestyle for 2 years. Yeah, so when I started that, like I had to start all over with like sponsorships, and like Boiron, I got them as a sponsorship this year, and they're super keen on like sponsoring women, and like everything I've done this year, like that sponsor was super amazing to pick up. But like bike sponsorships, it's still like a little hard. Um, I think the boys still get a little more than the girls, but it is changing, and yeah, hopefully in the future we'll be equal.
Yeah, my wife played women's lacrosse in college, and our whole circle of friends are, you know, lacrosse players, male and female, and they're just always talking about visibility, right? Like, what's the visibility? Who is it on TV? If it's on TV, or we have equal opportunity? And I understand both. Like, you
Yeah,
got to have the visibility, and then it needs to be two good teams playing, right? Because there's a drop off, and just like not the talent, but like maybe the numbers, sheer numbers of like these
yeah,
teams in college athletics per se. Like just use women's lacrosse for example. Like she's from Texas, she's from Houston. Another example, there wasn't too many girls playing lacrosse in Houston, so she was like one of 3 or 4 girls to go to play Division I lacrosse out of Texas that year.
right,
Um, but like, you know, a new program like, I don't know, say Clemson is not like Maryland. They just don't have the players or the depth.
right.
But to my point, like TV exposure, like what's that like for you guys? Like, I
Yeah,
know I see in the women's game growing, but
yeah. And
for lacrosse,
yeah, Crankworks actually gave us equal pay as the men, and we're on the same live broadcast on Red Bull TV.
oh
So
sweet.
that is a like that's huge. Like that's gonna help us so much, and like I already see it like helping. Like Crankworks like definitely splurged for us this year, and I'm super stoked about it.
That's great. And it's huge too, like you said, with your phone, like YouTube, like talk about that impact. Like, how have you seen that with your followers or just like certain things you post? Like now you can advocate for yourself so much more than before, where it's like, all right, I have my whatever 15 events a year. Hopefully they get a good picture of me and I don't know, get some sort of compensation. But now it's like you can have your own world. You can have a YouTube channel. You could talk about bike tires. Like people love that stuff that are in that business. You know, if they're passionate for it, they're all about it.
Yeah, like doing Crankworks, just like made my followers go up like tremendously,
Yeah.
and like I'm super stoked about it. And yeah, it's like you create your own pathway like with social media now. Like you can be whoever you want, and it's super super exciting.
Yeah, it's massive. That's how we met today.
Yeah.
Speaking of Boron, we got to talk about him because that's how we connected. One of our new presenting sponsors here, and I said, hey, Deborah, I'd love to get some of your guys' athletes on. She brought your name up. That's how we connected. But I love their product, and it's sponsor aside because for football, it's been huge for me.
Yeah.
Just like the homeopathic side of it too. Like everything nowadays is like what's in it, that which is great. Social media is exposing that, which is cool to see.
Yeah.
But they're great. I love all the creams, the pain relief creams. I think their allergy stuff is huge, especially being like mid-Atlantic, Northeast. Everything like blooms here, and it's like doomsday. Your car's got like 2-inch thick of pollen.
Yeah.
So,
Being in Texas with all the ragweed.
oh man,
Yeah.
it's brutal. That's great. Do you use the product a lot when you're on the road and traveling?
Yeah, especially this last event. I told you I took a few crashes, and it helped me so much. Like I fell like on my back and like whiplash myself. And honestly, without Arnicare, like I don't think I could have done the event. Like
I
it
love it.
helped me so much. Like I was just lathering that stuff on and being like, "Come on, baby, work." And yeah, it helped me so much. And I I used to when I used to race BMX, I was in USADA, which is like WADA, the drug testing pool. And so ever since then, I like been afraid of like I've always looked at every ingredient on every bottle, and with Arnicare and Boron, it's like it's gonna be like it's gonna pass the drug test. And like, I don't even get drug tested anymore, but it's like I'm still like nervous about it for some reason. But it's
You
like
have to be because that's as an athlete, right? And this, there's certain responsibility, like to people, of course, for yourself, you love performance enhance, like you want to performance enhance, but not through illegally. And then secondly, like I just remember being a kid and like losing so much respect for people they used like performance enhancing drugs. You'd be like, wow, they did steroids. Like, man, I used to love that
right, yeah.
person. That's like
And
devastating.
it's like in the long run, it's like what is your body gonna feel like when you're older doing like in- performance enhancing drugs? So yeah, it's like with Boron and Arnicare, it's like I don't have to worry and I feel good, and I never feel like any side effects from it. And yeah, it's just I'm so fortunate to be working with Boron this year.
Yeah, we are too. I think for me, again, not your crashes, more smaller car crashes, smaller bike crashes, but a couple of them. The range of motion the next day is what gets you. Like as an
Yeah.
athlete, if you can't like do your normal stuff and you got to compensate here or compensate there, and all of a sudden like it leads to something else, and that's what happened before. Before I was working with them, but for me, it's range of motion. I'm a huge swimmer. I think like at least once a week, twice a week. I say huge, but it's a big like adoption for me from like this meathead football guy. Like, why would you get in a pool? Are there stuff you're doing like for your training that's unique that you didn't do before? Or like, how's your training changed since when you really started training like off the bike? Because for me, I had something new every off season.
Um, yeah, coming from BMX racing, that's you have to kind of like train like you're like a track, like 100-meter runner. So like I was in the gym like all the time, and now with like slope style, it's more about like learning tricks. So I kind of like stopped, not stopped, but like kind of like chilled out on like the gym stuff, and now just really like work on mobility and being like really flexible. So less being like super strong, and being like more flexible. I guess that like doing
Yeah.
a whole bunch more yoga
It
is
changes for even like the old football guys. They're like, yeah, I just do yoga now. They're like, I don't even lift. I'm like, what? How's it even possible?
yeah.
But yeah, it changes with what you do and what you have going on. What's next down the sleeve for you? Like, is there an in season? There's an off season, or is it just like sporadic events?
So with Crankworks, slopestyle diamond level events, there's 4 of them each year, and my next one is going to be in Australia at the end of May. So that's what I'm working up towards.
No way. That's cool. So what will that be like? Have you raced there before?
No, I've never been. It's in Cairns, Australia, and
Cans, yeah.
it's like the northeast of Australia. It's like in the jungle part. So it's going to be super cool to go out there. Um, yeah, I've been to Australia to Bathurst before for a BMX race, but nothing like this. And yeah, this next course is going to be like super technical. It's going to be a little less slower, or like this past course was super fast. Like you had to be on your pedals, and like you just got like everything was like super quick. And this next one is going to be like a little more tamed back on the speed wise, but more like technical on the trick and feature wise.
That's so cool. That's got to be such a great perk of it, right? Like I'm on my bike on a jungle in Australia. Like what?
Yeah,
You're a girl from Dallas. What? You're supposed to be
yeah,
like, I don't know.
it's
What people
insane.
do. That's
Like
crazy. Was that
BMX.
your favorite? Where's your favorite places that the bike's taking you?
Oh gosh. The craziest place was China. That was a little hard to get around and like just like culture shock. But my favorite place, I don't know. New Zealand was really, really cool. Um, I don't know, just like the different cultures I get to see, like going to Colombia, like Chile. Chile was sick. I'd probably say Chile.
What made it sick?
There was just so much riding there. Like I did not expect to. I went there for a pump track race on my 20-inch bike, and a pump track race is where you just use your body to get momentum, so no pedaling. And I brought my big mountain bike over there, and I'm like, yeah, I'll probably ride it a little bit. And I experienced the most riding I've ever done, and like every spot I went to was just super amazing. And it's like I didn't think the bike culture was that big down there until I went there, and I was like, wow. And they have these hot dogs called completos, and it's a hot dog with uh, avocado and sauerkraut and uh, tomatoes on it, and it was the best street food I've ever experienced.
So the food and the biking combination.
Yeah. I saw you're a foodie, so yeah, Chile is the spot.
I love that. Okay, yeah, I'm a huge foodie. That's great. That's great. Where are you in Dallas still?
Yeah, I'm in Dallas. I'm in Burleson, Texas.
Are you like Tex-Mexing it up all the time, or what's your vibe?
Um, I I don't eat Mexican food anywhere else except here because I'm
Yeah,
like we have the best Mexican food. Like we can't go somewhere and eat Mexican food. Like that's just
my wife's the same way. Same way.
yeah. So yeah, I eat Mexican food a little bit, but it's a little heavy on training days.
Yeah, you get well, especially if you order it right, right? Like queso with like ground beef, or that's what my wife loves, like really good queso and all that stuff. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and the
That's
beans.
great.
I love the beans. That's my favorite part.
Oh yeah, the refried beans and all that stuff.
Yeah,
That's great. That's great. What
yeah.
was I going to ask you? Yeah, so Australia's coming up as we start to wind down here, and then how does it work? Like for you, is there time off? Like, are
Um,
you like, do you have to work another job when you do this life? Like, I don't know anything about it. Like, or you just, I'm all in. I make enough. This is my world. I'm doing this for the rest of my life, or just like a short sprint. I'm on to the next thing. Like, what's the look like career path wise for you?
Yeah, so from Australia, I go straight to Europe for a month, and there's the next competition is in Innsbruck, Austria. So I'll be out there training with a friend in Munich, and yeah, so I go from there, and then I fly straight home, and I drive up to Washington State and to Canada to the next event, to the last Crankworks event. And yeah, so I was saving up for a van, and I was going to go live the van life. And then I found slopestyle, and the last 2 years, I spent all that money just trying to experience the slopestyle life.
Yeah,
And this year I got some sponsors that are helping me out, pay for it all. But my boyfriend has a job, and he
perfect.
he pays the bills, and
Perfect.
and I'm trying to live the bike life as long as I can. I don't
Good
want
for you.
a big girl job yet.
Don't do that. They're overrated. I'm trying to hold on for dear life. I'm a free agent, like trying to get back into the NFL, and everyone's like, "You got a shot?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have a shot to get back." And then when that candle goes out, I'll still try to light it like 3 or 4 more times, and then eventually I'll move on because
Yeah, I stayed in BMX for so long because I wanted to still live the bike life and I didn't know what to do from there. And like you said, like COVID kind of put a damper on things, but honestly, it brought my life back to show me what I love and what I want to do, and it was very helpful for me.
no doubt it was a great year. It was a great year for my wife and I. Um, we've had other down years, but it was an up year for us for sure. We were able to stay healthy and navigate it.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on. I can't wait to follow you. What I missed? Tell me what I missed. Like, what are the good? Give me a good story from the journeys. Like,
ooh,
that's hard. I know it's like such a bad it's a bad interview style, but I always say like, I need a great story from the road. Like, what's a cool meal you had? You already told me that. What's a great trip? Like a BMX story where like this was the coolest thing I've ever done, or craziest thing I've ever done, or I can't believe I'm going to do this, or I can't believe I'm on a flight to wherever, sitting next to whomever. There's
honestly,
always
like I'm still in shock that I got to like do crankwork slope style. Like that was like just like the most amazing thing. And like in BMX, like my last few years, I tried to like just like kind of just have fun with it. And like because I was like so stressed out of it, like from it. And like I started writing like not to what I wanted to, and just going from BMX to mountain biking, I'm just like, let's just have fun and ride our bike around the world and like just have as much fun as you can. And being like on the starting kill of that slopestyle course, just telling myself to have fun, like it was the most insane thing like I've ever done. Like the fact that I get to be in New Zealand in the redwoods, like riding my bike right now on Red Bull TV, it's like I still like have to pinch myself. Like it's insane the life I get to live and be at like all these resorts. Like going from BMX, they just put a track wherever they had free land, and we were kind of like always sketched out about like leaving our bikes around to now being at like the most beautiful places in the whole world. It's like it's insane.
It's insane. Like that's so cool. That's the exact answer I wanted. I didn't even know where I was going to go because that's the stuff you're like. Now, have you ever had this either too? I'm sure you have. Like, even though you're so focused while you're there and while you're riding or while you're getting ready to ride, like you're like, sometimes I'll be like, holy shit, I'm in Jerry's world right now.
Right.
Like what? Like I was watching the Super Bowl there. I watched the Steelers Packers Super Bowl in Jerry's world. And then we played there in Dallas Cowboy Stadium, AT&T Stadium, 2021, we lost to Dallas, and I was with the Panthers. But like, you're just like, holy shit. Like, dude, you
Feels unreal.
pay attention. And I do. I'm very awake, like of all the players. And I tell all the rookies this, I'm like, be awake. It's going to end.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
going to end. Like, I'm almost annoying as a veteran
Yeah.
because I'm like not that good, So I'm like, guys, it's ended for me like 5 different times already. I've been cut 20 times. Like,
Yeah. You're
it's
the
gonna
hype man.
I'm the hype man. I always tell them, I'll give you great advice. I'll never be as good as you. I'll try my best. I will always be solid, but I will never reach. I'm never as gifted. Like, I'm not be as gifted as some guys, right? I'm good enough to play.
Yeah.
You can understand this. Like, there's some people on a bike where you're like, holy shit, I can't. And I could be wrong. Maybe that's you. But
Yeah.
like you're like, I can't do that. Much as I'll train my ass off to do it. Like, I just won't be able to get there. But I'll do all the other stuff right to be able to compete and on my best day, hopefully beat you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like an unreal feeling. And like when you're in the moment, it like, I don't know. It's just like, yeah, it's like, come on, like be awake. Like, let's live this moment to the fullest. Cause it's like, when are we ever going to get this again?
No.
Like,
And
we
when you
don't
get
know.
settled in, That's the worst part is when you get settled in and you're like, yep, we're going another race. It's not just another race, but you also have to tell yourself that because you don't want to psych yourself out either. Like, so at the end of the day, like there's a cool calmness to it where you just have to like, okay, I'm here, I'm focused, but also this is really sick.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to find that like combination of like being like in it, focused, but like let's have fun and enjoy the moment at the same time. It took me like forever to find it. And I sometimes, you get it right and you sometimes you don't. It's like every moment's different. It's like
Yeah,
you just got to keep reminding yourself like let's have a blast, but let's throw down.
that's right. No, it's you're really saying it best. It's like that sweet spot. Like for me, when I'm messing around and then I can like lock back in. Now football's way different. We're like 10 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and then you sit on the bench for like 10 minutes in real time and you're just literally sitting there. Like it's the
Yeah, and you get like you start like losing like the you got to go warm up again.
yeah. That's another thing. As a rookie, I made major mistakes. I like would okay, you eat your pregame meal 4 hours before the game. In college, you do that, and then I'd play like 50 snaps and wouldn't be able to get out of bed the next day. Like literally be dead. And you would be fine because you would just be like a part of the routine and you knew it was coming. But when I got in the pros and like preseason games where you're like a back half player on the roster and you may probably not even going to make the team, but you're only playing the fourth quarter of a preseason game, I would eat pregame meal 4 hours for the game. And then 2 hours before the game, I'd warm up like 4 to 5, 6 different times. I would get in. My legs are exhausted
Right.
because
Yeah, just for the dynamic warm ups.
I'm just like doing like jumping jacks on the sideline. I look like a goofball. But I'm like, man, this is my shot. I want to be warm for it.
How is it eating when you're nervous? Like when you're about
I'm
to
such
go?
an eater. It doesn't even bother me. I'm
Nice.
like, give me all the food.
Nice.
Are
Yeah.
you an eat? Like I'm a pasta, chicken. I have a couple pieces of broccoli and a piece of bread for every game, about 3,
Wow.
4 hours before. And then I have like a banana, maybe I forget what I used to have it down by Pat. It's changed every year for me. I'd have a banana like an hour before the game with an electrolyte packet, water, and then rip it up. And then halftime, depending on if I was out on kickoff return or not,
Hmm.
I would have another banana. So I'm an eater. I'm an eater at heart.
It's good.
Uh, yeah. How about you? Are you nervous?
Yeah, I can't eat like before competition. Like
No way.
it's just so hard to get down. And then yeah, and then well, I don't know. I've tried to get better, but yeah, it's hard.
Now the day before you're fine, but then it's like the morning of you're
Yeah,
like, damn it, I can't. Ready to
yeah.
go.
Like this
No
past
coffee, no nothing. Or are you good with that?
well, I like coffee. I love coffee. Like I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
put down some coffee. But if you don't eat on coffee, then you just get the jitters.
You're a mess. Your blood sugar is
Yeah.
like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I that's always the hardest part, right? Is like, but again, you're a pro now. Like, you're probably a lot better with it now than you were 8 years ago.
Oh, for sure. When I was amateur, I like didn't eat at all that day and then just crashed the next day, just slept all day.
Yeah, and you're like, man, I could have really been better out there. I could have performed better.
For
And we're so
sure. Yeah.
spoiled, right? Like we have so many nutritionists. There's strength coaches that have nutrition backgrounds, trainers. Like that's why I always tell rookies, like again, young players, at the end of your rookie year, go around to every single department because we have 20 departments that affect us. From if you're religious and you want to be better studying the Bible, you can learn that. If you want to
Wow.
get better at doing media stuff like I'm doing, they'll teach you that. Like go to everyone and say, how can I be better? Give me
That's
one
awesome.
thing to do, but nowadays with social media, almost everybody has that, I
For sure.
think.
Yeah,
Like,
what helped me a lot is I lived out at the Olympic Training Center in Chula Vista, California for like 6 to 8 years. And just the facility there, like they had a whole bunch of stuff like nutritionists and like recovery centers and just people helping you out like basically everywhere you need. And coming from that helped me a lot, just being an athlete. and seeing other athletes, how they perform and what they do, like track athletes. And but yeah, in the slopestyle world, it's kind of new, and it's like kind of a way different atmosphere. And but yeah, bringing that into slopestyle has definitely helped me a lot.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the nitty-gritty stuff about athletics, right? Like the real conversations that we would have in an airport, passing each other and being like, "So what'd you eat today? Or what do you eat?"
Yeah.
Do you get anything down though? Sorry, my thing keeps freezing. Do you get anything down? Like what if there's one thing where you're like, I'm gonna have a banana today, an apple, like, are you just like, no, I'm rolling?
I try to eat like 2 eggs in the morning and some like muesli, but trying to get the oats down never works.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's so
Just eat
cool.
the eggs, like they'll benefit you, and then fruit, like some watermelon. I can chow down on the watermelon.
Yeah, that's like cheating at that point. Some carbs, tons of sugar.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Shealen, this has been awesome.
Yeah, thanks for
Pre-
having me.
Appreciate you coming on. We'll get you on again. Phil, keep you posted on how the next season's going, how your trip's going. We'll be following you on social media and
Yeah.
checking out all your travels.
Yeah, I'm super stoked to be back on. That'd be great. Maybe after the season and see how
I love
everything
that.
wraps up.
Don't give up the dream. Have him keep paying the bills. That's what I say. And then eventually you're going to be the breadwinner because you're going to be killing it.
Yeah, he's my trail builder and money maker, so I can't get rid of him.
I appreciate you coming on. Safe travels.
Yeah.
And again, thank you. And we'll talk soon.
Yeah, and good luck with everything you got going on.
Thank you.